Okay, 5-4, the final score from the pond in Anaheim. The Utah Hockey Club lose in overtime to the Anaheim Ducks to close up their four-game road trip. Oh, baby, what a game, huh? What an interesting game. Lots and lots of goals, lots to talk about. I kind of again feel like this is what we're going to get from the Utah Hockey Club this season. There are going to be a lot of nights just like this. It's one of those, you're happy they came away with the point. This is one of those schedule games where, you come from the East Coast and before you make it back home, you have to take a little detour into Anaheim and play a game. So, look, grueling start to the season, lots of games along the way. This is one of those games before the season began I looked at as a schedule loss, but they get the loser point today. So there you go. In a season of firsts, the first ever overtime loss, loser point. October 16th, 2024. Nelson Mandela wrote, "There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged, to find the ways in which you, yourself, have altered." And if Nelson Mandela is to be believed, it is clear that the Utah Hockey Club have been altered in many ways on their four-game road trip. 5 points on this four-game road trip. You can live with that, at least a point a game. That is definitely a pace that is going to help them achieve maybe the goal of definitely they're going to be in the mix. It looks like as long as they don't keep having injuries, they're going to be in the mix as it relates to meaningful games late in the season, which has been what the stated goal of general manager Bill Armstrong has been. So let's quick do an introduction. My name is Keith Schertz. I started Ohio State hockey. I have been a play-by-play announcer. I called the national championship game for the ACHA division of college hockey that saw the the NYU Violets come away with the national championship. Anyway, hockey fan my whole life, play-by-play announcer for in the college ranks. So I have done it for UVU, have done it for BYU, have done it at national championship tournaments, have had other opportunities called junior hockey and things like that. So yeah, love following hockey and wanted to talk about the local team for me, the Utah Hockey Club. So 5-4. Man, is that an irritating one, huh? 5-4. Big picture, this was a win of a trip, right? This was a win of a road trip, 4 games, 5 points. It is one of those things where, they said they didn't want to be the team that was like the typical young team that loses games to teams that they should probably beat and then beats teams they probably shouldn't beat. But that's exactly what this team is turning out to be so far. Going to have a little bit of inconsistency, but again, they came away with a point. Now on the back end of a road trip, that can be a hard thing to do. Lot of points to talk about in this game. But I think it's good to go through and talk about the game itself, and then we'll get to the bigger picture of it. Troy Terry scores right off the rush. That was just a really nice play that came in from the Anaheim Ducks. I thought the Ducks were really impressive on that. One of the mistakes that was made was by Vladislav Koliachonik for the Utah Hockey Club. He was over-leveraged. Like, he took a little tough angle. He got a little bit out of the way and actually created a slot for Troy Terry, and that guy has a good shot, a really good release. So that was a really good goal by Anaheim. They got a couple fortunate goals, but that one was a very high-skilled goal. Let's talk a little bit about Jack McBain's night, huh? What a night for Jack McBain. Jack McBain, future 20-goal scorer in the NHL? I don't know. 20 may be a lot for McBain, but he's off to a good start. Couple goals early into the season. And, as we've watched with McBain, he's been able to thrive by playing one of the good lines that the team has. He's playing right next to Cooley and Gunther. There's so much attention that's given to Cooley and Gunther that McBain should have space and should be able to capitalize and should be able to get in a lot of goals. And so far, 2 goals through 5 games, you can live with that, right? That's pretty good work by Jack McBain through the first 5 games of the season. McBain, it was a great look. He had a man all over him. He called for the redirect, and Sergachev did a great job just rifling that thing in there. The nice redirect, deflected goal into the back of the net by Jack McBain. So Sergachev, that's his 3rd goal that he has set up this season on the redirect. 2 have gone to Barrett Hayton. This one goes to Jack McBain. So that's what you got to see. You want to see the big guy getting to the front of the net and being tough. And then beyond that, if the point of Jack McBain, if the reason for Jack McBain is to be out there to be a tough guy to protect, our 20 and 21-year-old stars, he went out there and scrapped a little bit with Radko Gudas. It was interesting to watch. He got underneath the skin of Radko Gudas, and then, he had an assist. He scored a goal. I mean, that was a really productive Jack McBain game. And obviously, big body, tough player. He's off to a good start. 2 goals through 5 games. That's really what you could ask for at this point, right? I mean, he's on track to have a 30-goal season. He's not going to, but I would suggest that if he continues to play the wing opposite of Gunther and then have Cooley at the center spot for him, and if he gets to continue to play on that line throughout the season, he is going to have a pretty big season in terms of points this year. I do not think that you're going to see him get that chance as players come back from injury. Bukestad is going to be back from injury. It'll be interesting to see where they decide to put Nick Bukestad, and we'll have to see what that means for Jack McBain. But tonight, great goal on the redirect, great assist to Kesselring. We'll talk about that. And of course, fighting with Gudas and getting under his skin. Gudas is just one of those guys, man. I kind of love Radko Gudas. I get that he's the sort of player where he's like a Joakim Noah part if you're an NBA fan. Like, he's the sort of player that annoys you if he's not on your team, but if he's on your team, you just love him to death. That is Radko Gudas, and he was really, really a fascinating watch tonight, actually, for the Ducks. Okay, Barrett Hayton gets the next goal. Barrett Hayton, 20-goal scorer? I think so. I think he's definitely going to be a 20-goal scorer this season. He's got 4 already early into the season. 2 of them on deflection. One was a really nice finish against the Rangers, and then tonight the finish that he had was on the power play. It was off of the rebound. What happened was you saw him anticipate and find a way to get the finish off of Schmaltz. Schmaltz did a good job getting to the front of the net on that power play. Shot came in, rebound came out, and you saw Barrett Hayton bury that thing. Now, Barrett Hayton was the 5th overall pick in the NHL draft. Barrett Hayton's development, in a lot of ways, is going to determine what the timelines are, and really ultimately what the top end of the Utah Hockey Club rebuild is going to end up looking like. He was given a prove-it contract in the offseason. I think, he's had his injuries, he's had his setbacks, but we saw Barrett Hayton get in there and make a difference tonight again. And it was a really good goal, really easy. Did a good job of doing the hard-working thing. He followed up Schmaltz. He saw Schmaltz move to the front. He went to the side, and he was able to get the rebound and just put it in. It's an easy finish for him. So you got to like what you're seeing out of Barrett Hayton early into the season. There's no question that the work he's doing there is good. This brings up a broader thing that is worth discussion. I think the Utah Hockey Club might be bad at 5-on-5. I need to do more work at looking at the numbers, but my spidey senses are telling me this. It feels like if the team is on the power play, if you can draw some penalties and be on the power play, I think they got a pretty nasty power play. But I do think that there's an issue here at even strength. At 5-on-5, I'm just a little bit concerned. But I need to look at numbers and see if that all bears out. It's just something to pay attention to, something to watch for, and something that should, be a giant problem because most of the games you are at even strength. So, that also means that their power play opportunities are just like so incredibly crucial. So we were happy to see Hayton bury one on the power play. Okay. The Robbie Fabry goal that was scored by Anaheim, this can happen. Andre Tourigny's defensive system, he likes to talk about them having a 5-on-3 mentality. He asks the players to play in tight to the net, to try to expand in and to have the 5 on the dice concept for his defensive scheme. And then he likes to stay tight and then slowly expand out if they need to create space. But he'd rather not see people expand out towards the boards or towards the corners until the whole team, all 5 skaters, can adjust to one side of the ice. And if they're in position, the system really works. Because it's hard to do anything. It's hard to get a cross-seam pass in that circumstance. It's difficult for teams to deal with that. And I think as you will watch, what happened is, Hey, Demetrio, thanks for tuning in. Ducks fan. Congrats to your team tonight. It was a tough game. Utah Hockey Club has some nice players, but the Ducks maybe took a little step forward. Obviously, Minty is awesome on the blue line. I really like Minty in his game. Of course, you can be happy about that. And yeah, Josh Doan taking on. It was pretty awesome. That just as a fan of Utah Hockey Club, to watch Josh Doan decide Radko Gudas was somebody that he's willing to test himself against. In the name of defending Clayton Keller, anyway, that's something to be proud of. But Radko Gudas is not to be trifled with, is he? But I was going to say, one of the things that I think Robbie Fabry did so well on that goal that you'll be interested in hearing, I think what the Ducks did so smart to break apart the system tonight for the Utah Hockey Club is they worked outside along the boards towards the blue line. And as they did that, I believe it was McTavish. McTavish was coming back to the blue line. He was able to draw Michael Carcone, and he was able to get... who was the other one? No, excuse me. That's not the Fabry goal. Fabry goal was just where Cole and Kraus... Yeah, Zegras came around behind the net, and Cole and Kraus decided to leave Fabry all alone in the slot. This happened because Valimaki went and pushed along the boards. Alex Kerfoot didn't come in and cover the back end, didn't step in front of Fabry. And then what happened was puck watching, there was bad team defensive play, and the pass was clever from Trevor Zegras. Pass comes through, Fabry gets on the back of that thing and puts it into the back of the net. It was a good goal. It was an easy goal based on the great pass from Zegras and also some pretty bad team defense by the Utah Hockey Club. The one I was talking about before was Pavel Mintyukov, right? Really a textbook work by the Ducks in terms of beating Andre Tourigny's zone, or his system. Basically, again, I was talking about Tourigny likes to play tight, 5-on-3 mentality, even when you're 5-on-5. And then what they were able to do was to draw the Utah Club defense out. They expanded the zone. Michelli and Carcone chase all the way to the blue line. They're busy chasing McTavish. McTavish makes the pass over the blue line, and then there's that pass that went right across the seam. When you are allowing a pass that's like 10 feet beyond the top of the circle on the right wing, and it gets connected to, it was Dumoulin's pass that came right through the middle of the zone, and what it did is it found Mintyukov right on the other side on the left wing dot. That is a long pass across the seam, and there was no sticks in the way. I mean, it was about as clean a pass as possible, and Mintyukov, of course, buried it. It was a great finish. It was a great find. But again, that was Matias Michelli and Carconi chasing all the way out to the blue line. Carconi leaves Mintyukov. Mintyukov moves and presses in. The pass is then made to the far side over to Dumoulin, and then Dumoulin makes that long pass cross seam diagonal into the left wing circle, and it's buried by Minty. So that's a goal that Ingram maybe could have stopped. His glove was here, just went underneath his glove, but you could really see that it's tough when you allow that kind of pass and that kind of look to a skill guy like Mintyukov. It went in the back of the net. So yeah, bad following the system, bad following the rules of Andre Tournay's system by Carconi and Michelli. I think Michelli, by the way, I really like Matias Michelli. I love watching his highlights. I think the passes that he has are awesome. He had a pass, I think, in the opening game to Gunther that was just awesome, but I think Michelli's been really rough on this road trip. Just having reviewed a little bit of the footage and stuff, he's had a bad few games, the Finnish player. He has not been very good. And that move by Carconi and Michelli, one pass, suddenly it's 4-on-3. Now you're allowing a pass to travel 35 feet with no sticks in the way, and the next thing you know, there's a goal. So it was pretty bad. Then it started kind of a bad stretch. After that goal by Mintyukov, the first one, there was a bad penalty at the end of the, where McBain got frustrated with Gudas. He got in his face. Gudas drew it. It was a good veteran play and was able to get Radko to bite. So that was, I think, a bad penalty for McBain to take. But they were able to kill that off to kill the second period. Third period then had that crazy stretch where Stenlin, he took a penalty, and that was just really bad timing. I mean, those things can happen. Active stick. He got the stick down low, and the next thing you know, we're killing another penalty. And then on the penalty kill, you saw it was a longer shift for the group, but man, and it was the second group, but the Ducks had them dancing. And there was one part where 3 Utah players were diving out of desperation for their defense. We weren't skating hard anymore. I know that's hard to keep skating hard on a long shift, but they got picked apart so bad that they dove, and then it was just a really clever move to get the extra tripping penalty. The 5-on-3 was a great penalty kill. I thought Ingram did a great job on the 5-on-3. He made a couple really good saves in the 5-on-3 scenario. I thought Sergachev rules. There's some people who are worried about whether or not, he always had Victor Hedman, and is Sergachev really a top level 1D top pair defenseman who you can play, tons of minutes? The answer is yes. We're playing him on penalty kill. He's playing on power play. He's playing on 5. We went down to 5 defensemen, second game row, and Sergachev's just out there, and he's doing work, man. And you could tell how tired he was after the final buzzer. That was something. I love Mikhail Sergachev. I do. I think he's proved, as long as he's healthy, he's definitely, without question in my mind, He is. He's proven that he can be a team's top pair defenseman. So that's good news. We have a 1D, and that's good news. But that penalty by Bertuzzo, the tripping, that was horrible. 5-on-3, though, they survive. One other thing to talk about on the penalty kill. It's been interesting through the first 5 games. They're trying to figure out who they are on penalty kills. Tonight, on the second unit penalty kill, Dylan Guenther. Every single time. Dylan Guenther playing penalty killer minutes is it's a little bit of an interesting development, I would say. Okay, Demetrio. What do you think the Utah Hockey Club team will be next year? I think the big rumor around here is that it's going to be Yeti. People think the colors that they picked really suit Yeti. The general manager has indicated that maybe it'll be Yeti. So there's been a couple people saying Yeti. I of the ones that made the finals, I like Mammoth the most. I think Mammoth is kind of cool. But yeah, we have fossils and things like that here, and mammoths, Colombian mammoths and things like that. So I kind of like that as an idea, but I do think that they'll probably be the Yeti. That's just what all the tea leaves are saying. Yeah. So, okay. Then Dylan Guenther on the penalty kill is it's a very strange thing. It's a very strange thing. It only makes sense if he can break up plays and get on a breakaway, right? That's the reason I'm putting him on there. Block a shot, go the other way, try to score. Crazy. 70 minutes of ice time so far this season for Dylan Guenther. 5 games, 70 minutes of ice time. He's got 1 block and 1 takeaway, so seems like a great guy to be on your penalty kill. Not at all. So I don't know. I was a little confused at seeing so many Dylan Guenther minutes on the penalty kill, though I don't think they gave up any power play goals tonight, because I think, again, they might be bad at 5-on-5. Hey, Demetrio, quick question. Demetrio, do you have a favorite name? Do you have something that you think, that you've heard or whatever? One of the ideas I like is I like the Dogs. I like being called the Dogs or the Hounds or something. And then having a live mascot at the games from like the Rescue, and then you could adopt out the team mascot every single home game or something. I think that would be a good initiative community-wise, while also giving an opportunity for marketing standpoint. If you buy a bunch of dog jerseys with different breeds of dogs on them, like how awesome is that? How many hockey jerseys with like a French bulldog could you sell, or a corgi? Anyway, I like that idea. And I would love to see that, but it's not one of the finalists. Okay. I'll wait for the chat there. Going back to the rest of the game, I would just say, they survive the 5-on-3. They get all the way back, couple big stops by Ingram, and then this really weird thing happens. The Ducks go on a change. The puck finds its way to Jack McBain, and Jack McBain drops it back to Michael Kesselring. Kesselring just rips it into the back of the net, and you see Michael Kesselring getting the first goal of the season for himself. Really excited about Michael Kesselring. He's really young, but man, I just, the more he plays, the more I like him. And after he scored that goal, it starts a stretch of the game where for 8 minutes, he was the best player for the Utah Hockey Club. Here's what he did. He's on a shift. He scores the goal. His next shift, on the forecheck, he drops a player and knocks the puck loose and creates another chance. In retaliation, Radko Gudas finishes a check on Clayton Keller and Josh Doan goes after Radko Gudas. We talked about that already. Good for Josh Doan. Evidence of some stones from Josh Doan. And he stepped up for Clayton Keller. There wasn't much to the fight, but, that's where it is. Oh, yeah, Bison. You like the name Bison for the team. That would be good. That's what a Buffalo mother says to her son when he leaves for school. Bison. I like Bison. That would be cool. I think the logo would be really great. You don't want to look too much like the Buffalo Bills, but yeah, that would be cool. Okay, and then Kesselring. So Kesselring scores the goal. Kesselring then goes onto the forecheck and drops a man. Creates that circumstance between Josh Doan and Radko Gudas. Next shift, Kesselring carries into the zone. He gets deep. He gives a backhand pass and connects right up front. He develops a good scoring chance for Utah Hockey Club. Kesselring's next shift, he settles the puck on the takeaway and then gets it over to Ingram, puts it basically into his glove to force a freeze. It was a great stretch of 8 minutes where Kesselring was the best player for the Utah Hockey Club. Clayton Keller then gets the puck on the rush. Schmaltz on the nice, saucer-fine, awesome finish, right? I mean, the speed with which he's coming at the net, that would be really, really, really tough to deal with. And, of course, it wasn't dealt with. So the Ducks goalie, Dostal, right, he played okay, but that was not an easy scenario to be put in. Clayton Keller on the rush. And that line on the cycle has been really, really strong. Okay, second goal by Pavel Mintyukov. The second goal, in my opinion, that's one of those hockey moments where it's like puck luck. There was two things. The puck luck of Mintyukov putting the puck back into the crease. It goes off of the inner knee of Connor Ingram and then into the net. That is just one of those moments where sometimes the hockey gods smile on a team. But you don't get that opportunity if Minty doesn't beat out Ian Cole on the rebound. Ian Cole turning into a really important player for this team, and he needed to be more of a role guy. Now he's being looked at as more, a reliable source for the Utah Hockey Club. So it'll be difficult to see how that continues to transpire. We'll talk more about the blue line in a minute. And then there were huge saves. Right at the end, Ingram made a save on Zegras with about 30 seconds left. That was huge. Gudas fired in with like 2 seconds left. That almost went in. So a couple good saves by Ingram. And then just wanted to mention, is it worrying to anybody else that the Utah Hockey Club can't seem to win in regulation? 4 games on this road trip. 3 of them went to overtime. 1 of them they clearly lost to the New Jersey Devils in regulation. The other 3 went in overtime. They were able to get 2 wins. They lose tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. And finishing out games in regulation, huh? That'll be an important part of this season as well. I mean, you don't want to continue to take on overtime games at the clip that they are. So 5 games in, 3 overtime games thus far. So I'd like to be able to finish off some teams in regulation, but it's hard to do anything about that. And Leo Carlsson, huh? How exciting is Leo Carlsson as a young prospect in this league? I think the finish that he had to put the game away was awesome. I think the problems that they caused, the breakout was there. Sergachev was taking his time, but his legs were dead. And he didn't want to come out of the zone. He wanted to reset. So he made a little pass back to Schmaltz, and Carlsson was all over him. Carlsson got the puck. Awesome finish on the breakaway to seal the win for the Anaheim Ducks. So, big win for the Anaheim Ducks. I don't know what the overall goal is for the Ducks this year is. I know that they probably want to get to at least 70 points to take a step forward. I would think that that would be a successful step forward for this team in this time. And, maybe one of their things will be deciding what they want to do about Trevor Zegras this year. I like Trevor Zegras. I think it's weird that all the other teams in the league are like, yeah, no, every other fan base is like, I want to trade for Trevor Zegras. Anaheim Ducks are like, I don't know, we could shop him. I know he makes some. I know he's frustrating in some ways, but not. I don't think Utah Hockey Club's a good fit for Trevor Zegras. I think that we have enough of those young players who don't necessarily play defense but can really score and give you opportunities to do things. But the kid has 100 assists. He's only been playing for like 3 years. Like, he's something. I don't know. If I was an Anaheim fan, I would not want him to be traded, but it continues to sound like he might get traded. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Okay. Let's get into some really interesting takeaways, long-term takeaways that we need to make sure we address here as it relates to Utah Hockey Club. So that 5-4, Sean Durzi being out, huh? That stinks. We haven't had a chance to talk about Sean Durzi and the fact that he's out indefinitely and we don't know when he's back. Top paired defenseman, was playing really good with Sergachev, and now he's gone. Robert Bortuzzo came in. Looks like maybe he got stepped on by a skate, is what they were saying in the broadcast. Once that tripping call was called against him, he didn't serve it. They sent Doan out there, and Bortuzzo never came back into the game. If Bortuzzo is out too, yikes. They called up Patrick Koch from the Tucson Roadrunners, and I think he's going to be in the lineup on Saturday against the Bruins. Patrick Koch getting called up was a little bit of a surprise to me. And by the way, I think if Bortuzzo is not there, you're going to see the team call up another player. But I was surprised that Patrick Koch was the first guy they called up as the choice. First of all, Sean Durzi, right shot defenseman. Koch is a left shot defenseman. He's an off-wing D-man now, or somebody's going to have to play off-wing, and that's a no-no for Andre Tourigny's system. He really, really wants a left shot with a right shot. So I think it'll be fascinating to see why they brought Patrick Koch up, and now they may be forced to play him. So Durzi's out. Koch gets brought up, off-wing defenseman, right? You want a left shot and a right shot. Now they are stuck in the scenario that they're stuck in. So why Patrick Koch? Here's what I'm thinking. 27-year-old player, solid. He did fine in preseason. Didn't move the needle for me. Not necessarily a player that I think... he's solid. So you bring him up, you let him practice with the team and be the team 7, and you hope that you don't have to play him. And that way you can continue to play. You've got 4 defensemen, maybe even more, but 4 defensemen that you consider, one of your 4 defensemen in your top 7 prospects, basically. And one of them's playing in the KHL. So Dmitry Shimashev, a lot of people think he's maybe the top prospect the Utah Hockey Club has. Shimashev's playing for Lokomotiv in the KHL. Then you've got the next highest prospect in many people's mind is Maverick Lamoureux. And then you follow that up with maybe Artem Duda and maybe even Max Zuber. The problem is that you have Max Zuber and Artem Duda as left shot defensemen. And if you are to balance out your blue line with a left shot and a right shot so no one's off wing, and follow the rule that Andre Tourné likes to have for his teams, that's a right shot defenseman then you got to bring up. And ladies and gentlemen, what do I hear? I think that's Maverick Lamoureux's music, and we might be seeing the debut of the 6'7" defenseman, and that'll be fun to see him come up. Hopefully, 9 games, and then maybe goes back and gets more time in Tucson, or maybe plays well enough that he holds his time here. But it'll be fascinating to see if we get Maverick Lamoureux if Bortuzzo is out. If Bortuzzo can go, they will not call him up. They will try to continue to work this thing out. But if with Durzi being out, with Patrick Koch coming up, I think that's signaling to me that maybe they were going to have him be like a 7. Now you're stuck with needing a right shot defenseman if Bortuzzo's out. So I think maybe it's Maverick Lamoureux time. So that'll be really interesting. See another one of the big prospects come up on the pipeline, and if this team couldn't get any younger, it just did. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully Bortuzzo isn't too hurt, just to keep a little bit of familiarity around the team and just keep some of the basic structure of it. But with Durzi being out long-term anyway, they didn't have balance on the blue line already. So they need to be able to find that. So that's where it is. Tristan, hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream. You're a Canucks super fan. Hey, thanks, buddy. Welcome to the NHL. Yes, no, it's really fun to have a team in Utah. I've been following the NHL for a long time. I grew up in the East, and so had a team out in the East that I followed real close. And it's been interesting to cheer for something my whole life and then now have this other thing that came in. I was a Flyers fan. Still am a Flyers fan, but had a chance to watch the Canucks on the season opener in Vancouver. So, one of these times I need to take a trip up to Vancouver and go see a game up there. That would be awesome. They're going to have a great season, I think. Vancouver, obviously great tradition there. Hey, can I ask you, Tristan, thanks for the sub, by the way. Are you, I watched a video from a Canucks fan that was talking about the trade that the Canucks made with the Arizona Coyotes, where they were able to, who did they get? They got Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and they got, he's still on the team. Who's the other guy? The OEL. I'm going to look it up. OEL trade to Vancouver. Anyway, this may be painful. But the reason I watched this, they said, Connor Garland. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Connor Garland go. The Arizona Coyotes then took Jay Beagle, Roussel, and Louis Eriksson, and were able to get the 9th pick in the draft, which ended up being Dylan Guenther. It was Connor Garland. Yeah. Good. So the delay there, messed this up. But thank you for the help. Yes, you did trade Pronger to the Flyers back in the day, and they did almost win the cup. It was pretty fun. I loved Chris Pronger. I'm sure you did too. Anyway, you have Connor Garland, so there's still that, but I'm feeling real good about having Dylan Guenther. I think that's going to be a fun one. So, but anyway, that was an interesting trade. I know. Anyway, the only reason I know about that trade, like in depth, is because I was able to. I saw a video that said, is this the worst trade in Canucks history? And so, I don't know if every Dylan Guenther goal is torture or not for a Canucks fan, but so there that is. Okay. So look, I think that's just about everything that I have in terms of reviewing the game. I thought that Anaheim, young team, taking steps forward. I thought they were impressive tonight. They were better at 5-on-5, that's for sure. And on the power play too, they had a couple opportunities that came through. They just none of them were able to find in the back of the net. I actually thought Ingram was pretty good in power play scenarios, because I think this is a team. By the way, the Ducks. Just to talk about them for a second. I think this is a team that is great on the rush and maybe not so good on the cycle. And so if they can get out and skate, that's a scary scenario. Whereas if they are set up and have to score on the cycle, that's a lot harder for them. So maybe that's wrong. No offense. But there it is. Yes, it is. We know it could be our guy, but Garland is so good. I don't know about the trade. I think we want it, to be honest. But, yeah, Dylan Gunther is good as well. It's fun. Sounds like it's a win-win then. Win-win on the trade. So I'm glad that you love Connor Garland. So that's great. I bet you do not love Oliver Ekman-Larsson. But now, it's so funny, now that he's not on that huge contract, he's up in Toronto. And I'm sure the Maple Leafs are going to really like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They're going to enjoy having him on their blue line now, and especially at the price that they have him. So, anyway, okay. I think that's all I got for tonight. I enjoyed watching the game and having a chance to see the young Ducks. Also enjoyed getting another chance to see the Utah Hockey Club. Keller with his 4th of the season. Kesselring gets on the board for the first time. Barrett Hayton with his 4th. And and then Jack McBain with the 2nd goal of the year. And so there we are. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll be back after the game against the Boston Bruins. And until there.